Hello, my name is Matthew, and I couldn't get out of a relationship with a girl because this would have affected my family in a really bad way. So, I've just been living with my mum for most of my life, and she's always been a genuinely great person. She spent a lot of time helping people, despite the fact that we ourselves are pretty poor. She would always do some charity work, like work in a homeless shelter or a soup kitchen, and I've always looked up to her. But still, she wasn't perfect. She was always just a little bit too timid or shy. So for the last several years, she's had a lot of trouble finding a job, and we've really struggled financially. Around this same time, I met Amelia. We almost immediately liked each other, and soon we started dating. She was amazing at first, very kind and funny. Everything was going so well that she introduced me to her family almost immediately. It turns out that her father was a successful businessman. He really liked me and was telling me stories about himself the whole evening, so much that Amelia had to stop him because it was getting too late. I realized that he could help my mother with a job, so I asked him about it. He was happy to help and gave my mum a job at his company. There wasn't anything special, but it was a job. My mum was very excited about it, but also pretty anxious. Because of her anxiety, she messed up a lot, and Amelia's family wasn't exactly happy about it. Around this time, Amelia changed. Instead of the sweet, caring girl, she became kind of spoiled and whiny. She would always make fun of people on the street and spread rumors about people we knew, and then get upset when I'd ask her to stop. So I guess at first, she tried to show herself in the best possible light, but then she relaxed, showed her true colors. I hated spending time with her and really wanted to break up, but I couldn't because I didn't know what would happen to my mum and her job. So I had to figure out how to make her break up with me instead. At first, I just decided to annoy her. Amelia cared about what people thought of her way too much, so I started to wear goofy clothing when we were together. And when we'd hang out with her friends, I would tell the dumbest jokes ever. She was extremely annoyed and embarrassed, and acted like she hated spending time with me. But for some reason, she wouldn't break up with me. Sometimes I'd help my mum when she was volunteering at soup kitchens for the homeless, and I knew that Amelia would hate doing something like that, so I planned a perfect bad date. I told her I wanted to surprise her, and took her to one of those kitchens. And we spent around an hour there, working until she just left. Disgusted and annoyed. She really didn't want to have anything to do with work like this. I took her home, and I had to act upset the whole time. Well, in reality, I was happy that she would hopefully finally get rid of me. But something totally unexpected happened. She didn't break up with me, but she did whine about the whole situation to her father, and he was impressed by me because I was so responsible for my age. He was so impressed, in fact, that he took me on a fishing trip together with Amelia. It was so awkward because he was just singing my praises all day. To him, I was like the son he never had. He always dreamed of the day when he'd give his business to his son, who would succeed him. Amelia just sat next to us the whole day, doing something on her phone. But I saw how annoyed she was, because he never even considered giving his business to her. Okay, I have to admit something. When I realized how bad of a situation I was in, it was tempting to have a chance to take over someone's successful business, especially when you're used to being poor. So, I was telling myself that maybe Amelia wasn't so bad, and maybe I should stay with her. But the situation reached its peak of awkwardness when Amelia's parents had their anniversary party. They had it in their mansion, and it was super fancy and official. I felt so out of place there, especially every time Amelia's father would introduce me to his friends. After a ton of handshakes and small talk, the worst thing happened. They decided to take a family picture, like him, his wife, and Amelia. And of course, they invited me to be part of the picture. I tried my best to genuinely smile, but my eyes were clearly saying, "Oh no, please help me. No, no, no." I felt like this was the point of no return, and I really didn't know if I could endure being with Amelia, who disappeared right after the photo. I was looking around for her, but couldn't find her. Finally, I decided to look for her, outside. She was sitting in the stairway, crying. When she saw me, she had this genuine anger in her eyes. I asked what was wrong, and it turned out that she was upset that her father never paid any attention to her, especially once I appeared in their lives. He never cared about what she had to say. She confessed that she stopped liking me a long time ago, but her father was always trying to persuade her to stay with me because I was such a great guy. We sat silently for a few minutes, and my mind was racing. Both me and Amelia were miserable in this relationship, but at the same time, me and my mum were getting so much from her father. In the end, I decided to break up with her, right then and there. She smiled with relief when I did, and I hoped this would end in a civil way. But no, her smile of relief quickly changed to something more devious. She went back to the house, kind of fake crying, and announced to her father that I'd broken up with her. Her dad tried to laugh it off, like it was some kind of prank. I was watching from a distance, and I felt like I was going to die from shame right there and then. Her father asked me if this was a joke, and I just stared at him. He took me and Amelia to our private room and asked me to reconsider. Amelia was super mad because she wanted her father to feel sorry for her and, comfort her. But instead he was doing the complete opposite. I politely refused to reconsider. He sighed and said, fine. And Amelia loudly told me to leave, which I did. Her father asked me if I wanted him to get me a taxi home. I wanted to say yes, but then I saw Amelia's facial expression and politely refused again. After a long walk in a two-piece suit, I made it home. I didn't know whether I was happy or not. After a week, my mum lost her job, and I had to tell her why it happened. My mum laughed it off and said, "Good, I didn't like that girl anyway." She was extremely proud of me, because I guess I made the right choice, but it didn't feel like it because she lost her job. But she was sure that there was no point in making money if the way you have to get it makes you miserable. I guess she's right, and I think she's almost found a new job. Anyway, she'll never give up. Have any of you had any problems like this?